Hi everyone, welcome to episode 1 of the Billion and Icon podcast series. So today I'll be interviewing Saidon Richardson, and we're going to be discussing basically his inspiration on how he got into the music industry. So how you doing, Saidon? I'm glad you're here today. Okay, so basically I want to ask, what motivated you to want to start doing music?
The thing that motivated me was listening to other music, listening to artists like Kanye, Lil Wayne. At the time, when I started producing, I was in the 7th grade, 12 years old, I believe. And that basically got me motivated. I was listening to the sounds. I was like, I could do that, you know? So it's just got FL Studio and just started ever since then. It's been on.
Well, I can relate to that because when I was 11, that's when I first went to Parkway. They put me in the piano class, and I never played an instrument in my life, so I'm like, what do I do? But then over time, I got interested, and I'm listening to, the same artists, Lil Wayne, Kanye, Drake, and I'm like, I like their music, so I'm gonna start recreating stuff like that. And over time, it became, okay, I can do this now. Let me do my own thing. Right. And then I started producing when I was 14, and it just took off from there. So now I want to ask, basically, at this point in time, who do you feel has the most influence on your music?
The most influence, I think the person that has the most influence on me, I wouldn't say it's a person. Okay. I would say it'd be the music. As an artist-wise, we have people like Jay Dilla, all the old heads, right, such as producing, Jay Dilla, Kanye, a little bit of Metro Boomin here and there, but K Tronada, people like that. Those are my inspirations. I try to take as much of them as possible, or listen to interviews like this, and try to listen to see what I can get from it so I can mix it all together.
Right. From my perspective, I know I prefer contemporary music, so I like to listen to people like Future, Young Thug, and I just, not necessarily music, more so just how the music sounds. So what I'll do, I'll sit and I'll deconstruct the song. How did they get their voice to sound like this? How did they get their voice to sound like that? And then I'll go back and say, okay, now I'm going to take my voice and emulate what they're doing, but I'm going to add my own little style to it, my own, demeanor to make it sound like my sound. And now it's becoming more of, I take new music, and then like you said, you listen to the old heads, and I put both of them together and create that new sound. So now it's a balance. So I know my grandparents can listen to this and they'll like it, but then I can go and say, I'm gonna play this at a party I'm having, and the people there will like it too. So
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What do you think your style is like?
I would have to say, technically, I would have to name it something on my own, because the way I do, I have R&B music, but when you listen to it, it doesn't sound like true R&B, like something, well, let me think of one good one, like Fantasia, Keisha Cole. You wouldn't, that's R&B, and mine is R&B too, but you wouldn't hear that. Mine is more like I'm rapping but singing at the same time. So it'd be, you could parallel it between Future and Drake. If you mix those two styles together, that's what you would get from my sound specifically. And as far as production is concerned, typically I'll start off with strictly R&B. I have pretty chord progressions, melody, and I'll go back and add the drum kits that add that hip hop and that trap sound to it. So I would say trap soul will probably be the most similar to what I do, but it's still kind of in its own lane as far as what my music is. Okay, so we have our next guest here, Gregory Campbell, another producer friend of mine. So just tell us a little bit about your music, Greg.
I try not to pigeonhole the music that I create into a genre, because I try to have a very open palette, but I do frequently make things that are under the alternative R&B spectrum or electronic. But like I said, I try to keep the music that I create as eclectic as possible.
Well, you're kind of like Kanye West with things. You take everything that you hear and then you build from it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what inspires you as far as your music is concerned?
Musically, I have a lot of inspirations. He actually listed one of them, K Tronada. That's a big influence as far as the music that I create. I try to take as much knowledge from these producers and these artists as I can, and I try to kind of like stir them all together to make this, gumbo of music that is me.
Hey, I like that. So basically, you just take different things that you hear and you create this brand new sound from it, and it's not just a one-time thing. Everything you make is always
Everything
new.
is different.
Okay, so I can listen to a production by Greg one day, come back 3 days later, hear another one, and neither one of them can say those two sound alike. That's good. I like that. So we have our next guest here. We have Miss Isis Benjamin.
Okay.
All right. So first, I want to ask you the same thing. So what inspires you as far as your music is concerned?
Well, I like to say it started off when I was born. My mom, he started off as a rapper, and my dad, he's Jamaican, and he is a DJ. He went to FAMU, started DJing there. Then he, like in the 90s to the early 2000s, he was on a Jamaican TV show where he DJ.
Okay.
So
That's good.
yeah, and like I remember when I was little, like I'd always he had a drum pad, like the drum pads we use
Right.
and like I'd always make beats with him and we'd play around and stuff. So that's how it first started. But then I really started getting into music more like, I don't know, I think 8 years old. Like I heard, like you said, Lil Wayne. I heard
Right.
Kanye was a really big one. I was listening to a lot of R&B and hip hop. It was just a mix of just a lot of mainstream stuff. So pretty much all the, I guess, old heads you've heard of before. But I really started like figuring out my own sound more like now. Today, I guess I can say that my sound's like, it's R&B, hip hop, but then it could be like alternative or like, I don't know. One time Greg classified it as house.
Who would you say now most closely matches your style of music?
I've been leaning towards a lot of lo-fi beats. It's like a mixture of like hip hop and like just a sample of something.
So we have our last guest, Cherisse Popo, and it's the same process. So start off with basically your inspiration in your music.
So I'm in a marching band, right?
Right.
And I play an instrument. So it's like I hear a lot of sounds while I'm performing.
Right. Which instrument is that?
I play trombone.
Okay.
So I would say marching band and playing the piano has been my inspiration.
So what music do you primarily make the most?
I make more trap beats, EDM beats.
And we have a lot of new artists out now. You said you primarily make trap beats. So who do you think most closely models the type of music that you produce?
That's kind of hard to describe. My music is between X, Future, Kodak. It's a weird mix.
Your influences. So what artists, producers, who inspires you the most?
Southside.
Do you have a backstory, anything that led up to you when it came to producing music?
I listen to a lot of trap music.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's crazy because I'm Caribbean, but I make a lot of trap beats. The correlation is kind of off.
So I want to thank all of you guys for allowing me to interview you. This has been podcast number 1, and there's many more to come in the Billionaire Icon series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
I almost fell. You know that?
Oh my gosh.
Why you do that?